It's full. This is Misha. I want to talk about all this stuff up above because somebody came onto my live yesterday and was talking about all the medications and how I'm giving misinformation by telling people that a dietary disorder can't be fixed with medications. And so I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought about it, and look, like the people who want to do those medications, I can't help them, right? I can't. If you don't want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. For the rest of you who do maybe want to hear it, I got to address this because it's important. And I'm all jacked up about it today. So those medications that you're injecting, those pills that you're taking for all of this stuff up here, they're harming your body. There's a thing called the prescriber's digital reference. It's amazing to me that in this last year, they've changed up the format of that reference and they've taken out a whole bunch of information that used to be there about these drugs. So they have been proven to cause liver problems, kidney problems. Some people have been showing up with heart problems, thyroid problems. People have been having gastroparesis because of these drugs. So if you're looking for a more natural solution to those things like stubborn weight gain, your diabetes, blood pressure, all of that, hang out. We're going to talk about it. But first, it's Friday. Where's everybody at? What's your day look like? What are you doing? Because I'm just jazzed up today. I get to grab my grandson this afternoon. We're going to have some grandma-grandson time, which usually means him beating me up with Nerf swords and having sword fights, but I love him, so we do it. But I'm in Maryland. Where are you all at? Where are you coming from? Hi from Australia. I was just actually, as I was getting ready this morning, I was thinking about the last few days when we're talking, and we have people from New Zealand and Scotland and Australia. I'm like, I really need to plan a trip next year. I don't think I'm going to make it to Scotland next year because I want to go with my family, and unfortunately my son and the reason we want to go can't go. But maybe I need to start taking a look at rounding something up and coming to New Zealand because I've been wanting to go there for a long time, and maybe we'll hop on over to Australia on the way. I mean, I say hop on over, but for me in Maryland, that's a hop. So you guys, welcome. Thanks for joining in, and let's open up this conversation because I want this to be a conversation, not just me blaring at you. Have some music going. If it's too loud, let me know, but I just felt like I needed that energy this morning. So we're here to talk about insulin resistance. I'm going to be going over what it is, what causes it, how we can get over it, and then how it links to all this like long laundry list of stuff up above. Hey from Kenya, I see you over there. Thank you. So welcome in everybody. I love when we have people from around the world in here. It's just such a blessing. Isn't it crazy with social media? Like I'm older, so I remember when getting out was like leaving the little panhandle of North Idaho and going to some states that weren't neighboring. And now it's like we have access to so many people. So is it common for women with PCOS to fail a 3-hour and still have a great A1C? Yes, it is. Can I explain some of how that's happening for you? Is it okay if I explain that for you? So we're going to talk about the natural solution in a minute, and it's a protocol that I've been using for 2.5 years and helped me with all of this up here. I just realized that's kind of high up there. But anyway, PCOS. Now, PCOS is linked to insulin resistance. That's a whole other piece of the pie. But let's talk about insulin resistance first so that you understand why maybe your A1C is normal, but your glucose tolerance is not. Oh, I got hair sticking on my face. Okay, so with insulin resistance, we're eating food, and this is going to lead into the solution, okay? This is a food disorder, not a medication fixable disorder. Those aren't fixing anything. All right, so we're eating food that's imperfect. It's been stripped of things like fibers, nutrients, enzymes that allow our bodies to digest the food in a manner that it's always supposed to have been dealt with. So now food is going through us too quickly. It's turning into this energy source called glucose too quickly. And when we have this excess glucose in our system, we have insulin that gets cued to come out so that it can carry that energy to all the cells of the body. Okay, so excess glucose from imperfect food and us eating too much. You guys, let's stop for just 1 second, please. There is no metabolic study that says eating every 2 hours boosts your metabolism. That's a bunch of BS. We've been lied to. Stop listening to that stuff. There's no science behind it. All right, so too much food, imperfect food, too often turns into blood glucose. That turns into high amounts of insulin. That high amount of insulin over time becomes insulin resistance. Now, this could be going on, these high amounts of insulin driven by too much sugar in your system for years before it ever tips the scale and becomes diabetes where your A1C is going up. Why? So insulin is delivering that energy to all your cells. Most of your cells start to get like, whoa, I don't want to hear from you. I'm done. I took up all the energy I can take up. I just can't do it anymore. And even when they need the energy, they're just like resistant. Like, I'm so traumatized by insulin knocking on my door all the time, I'm just not going to go there. So now those cells are having problems. There are some other cells that take up too much. I can go over those. It causes heart problems. It causes skin tags. It causes melasma and acanthosis nigricans or dark skin patches. But when it stops being able to get it into those cells, or when it has too much that the cells everywhere else aren't taking, even those greedy ones, it starts storing it. And so does anybody know what the storage unit in our body is? Do you guys know what that is? So I'm going to give you a clue. Yes, Peggy Rose, it would sure lead that way to me. So look, nope, the storage unit, that's a processing unit. Okay, it does store some, but it processes and it stores a little bit, right? Our storage unit is our fat cells. Okay, so we have two types of fat cells, and for right now we're just going to talk about fat cells in general. But so when insulin can't get taken up anywhere else and it has this load of energy to deliver, it's like, okay, storage unit, here I come, and it starts packing on all this fat. You see, you don't get fat and then become insulin resistant. You become insulin resistant or overloaded with insulin, and then you start gaining fat. Now, your fat cells are like any other cell in the body. They're like, ooh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And you're putting so much energy in there that if I take any more, I'm literally going to explode. So now those fat cells are starting to spill that extra energy back out into the bloodstream. Now is when your blood sugar starts to go up. Now is when your A1C goes up, but you've been having a glucose intolerance all along. So yes, you can fail a glucose tolerance test, not have a high A1C because you're already likely insulin resistant. You just haven't had that excess spillage out into the bloodstream high enough that it's triggering your A1C to go up. Does that make sense? So, and the liver, by the way, guys, when we're insulin resistant, it's causing a huge load on the liver. So also in pregnancy, you guys will start to see that doctors will be like, oh, you're having problems with your gallbladder, and they want to yank your gallbladder out. I talk about this all the time because mine was yanked out postmenopausal, and now I have to figure out how to redo life and insulin resistance without a gallbladder because that all affects it. Unless it's life-threatening, I would say hold on to your gallbladder and find another way. Okay, good morning, Janice. So, but the important thing is, does anybody know what's causing problems with our liver if you're not an alcoholic and you're not drinking alcohol? What's the second thing that's causing our livers to be diseased and causing our gallbladder to start failing because the liver's overworked? What's that second thing if it's not alcohol? Because we're seeing this in 6-year-olds. It's sugar, but it's a specific type of sugar. Do you guys know what that is? Because it's a specific type of sugar that the liver has to process that it gets jammed up with. And I'm going to tell you, you think you think that the source of it is a health food, and it's causing damage. Fructose, exactly, fructose. So fruits, look, I love fruit. I'm not going to tell anybody not to eat fruit. But for most people, if you're living off of fruit, you're putting undue stress on your liver. If you're drinking fruit juice, now you've removed the fiber from the fruit. And so now you have straight fructose going into your system and attacking your liver. And now your liver is packing on fat, trying to deal with all this fructose because it is storing some of that fructose in the liver. And oh, so you guys, I just got removed from TikTok live streaming. That's how my life goes. I don't know what I said, but somebody got triggered by me talking about fruit and the liver. So there we go. So I won't be able to go live on TikTok for a week now. That's how it goes. All right, so I'm going to continue the conversation over here as long as you guys want to hear me, and we'll take it from there. So I was talking about fructose and fruit juice. So when we have fruit juice, basically we've taken the fiber away from the fruit. Now we just have this fructose that's hitting the system, and it's causing problems with the liver. So we want to be careful of that. Now, a couple of people were asking what's the natural solution. So you guys, the truth is we're missing the one nutrient that is missing from our diets the most, that we're not talking about, that deserves attention over things like protein and whatnot, is fiber. So the truth is fiber has been pulled from our foods. Fiber has been removed in such a way that it makes our foods more delectable, delicious, juicy, tasty, and we just want to eat more and more of it, but it's allowing that sugar to hit our system much too quickly. So without fiber, we are having problems with this energy turnover in our body. We need the fiber in order to slow that down and make it more manageable. So what I do is I supplement because I can't get enough fiber in a day, right? Like I just don't even want to worry about having all the stuff in my fridge. It's probably going to spoil, or understanding every time I got to eat that I have to do all of that first. So it's specific types of fiber that help with the blood glucose. So the solution that I do is a tea in the morning, and then I do some intermittent fasting. So that's what you see me drinking this morning is my tea. It helps me feel full. It helps keep my hunger down. It gives me mental clarity and energy. It gives me physical energy. It has anti-cancer and antioxidant properties that just help my body along the way. So I do that. I do some intermittent fasting to allow those insulin levels to come down and allow glucagon to come out. Then when I'm done with the 16 hours of fast, which means if I stop eating at, I usually say 6, but let's say 7 o'clock at night is my dinner time, right? That's more reasonable for most people. 12 hours is 7 o'clock in the morning. That's when we usually wake up and start packing in things like cereal and all these things that are going to start spiking our insulin again. Instead of doing that, allowing our body and our gut to start working for us, we just fast through that. Our bodies were built for this. Our bodies weren't built for all the food intake that we're taking. Then I wait another 4 hours past that, which is about 11 a.m. Generally, my first meal is about noon, and before I have that meal, I have a fiber supplement. It's more than a fiber supplement, but has vitamins, minerals, and a bunch of other things in it that are great for metabolism. So I drink this in about this much water 10 minutes before I eat. That gel matrix goes into my gut, fills me up, starts to encapsulate the foods that I do eat, and slows down the delivery of that into my system, so that now it's slowing down the sugar delivery and slowing down that insulin spike that's causing all the problems. I wait about 6 hours to have my dinner and then do it all over again. 2 meals a day. I still get in about 1,800 calories, but here's the thing. I focus on these things. So fiber first, which is what I just showed you. And then I do protein, fats, limit my carbohydrates, do that time-based eating, and then it's important to get up and move your body, especially right after you eat. The worst thing that we're doing, besides all the other things, is that we're sitting too much and we're not moving. We eat and we sit. We eat and we sit. Now we have all this energy in our body, but no place for it to go. So if our cells are resistant and we want to be able to take that energy up more, then we need to start being able to move and get that energy moved around our body so that we can become more insulin sensitive. Now, 25 to 30% of your body is muscle. So if that muscle is moving, even if it's walking, it's needing energy, and it's going to be more receptive to taking in that energy that insulin's trying to deliver. So that's a big clue, you guys. I would love to say, no, I wouldn't, because I just believe in exercise. But you've got to get up and you've got to move and do all of that. So what got me in trouble on TikTok was probably because of these two images right here where I'm talking about injections and pills. Look, insulin resistance is not fixed by injections and pills. What's going to happen is you're just going to continue to have those problems. They're probably going to keep upping that medication, and you're eventually going to get sicker from it all and end up in a state we don't want to talk about anyway. So the solution I'm talking about is just the natural solution that puts back what's been stripped out of our foods so that we don't have to rely on those. When we listen to doctors like Dr. Fung, who wrote the obesity code and the diabetes code and the cancer code, he says you cannot fix a dietary disorder with medication. And that's what insulin resistance is. So when somebody was on my live the other day, they were talking about some of those medications that are really popular right now. Some that you're injecting and probably paying $300 to $1,300 a month for to try and lose weight. Well, let's look at what those do. Okay. So some people are going to disagree with me because some people are bought down the river and maybe they work for a big pharma or whatever. But here's the thing. Those drugs are forcing you to excrete more insulin to help deal with the blood sugars. They're forcing your cells to take in that insulin when your cells are resistant. So I'm going to invite everybody to just sit for a second and think about if you have too much insulin in your system and your body's already resistant to it because there's so much of it in your system, and the best solution that you have by doing these drugs is forcing your pancreas to create more of something it's already stressed out creating, and then forcing the cells to take that in. Is that probably a good idea? In my thought, it's not. The other thing that happens with these drugs, and it's been proven, is that so when we talk about fat cells, we have, these are big words, but there's hyperplastic and there's hyperplasia. So hyperplasia means that they grow. So that's what we all think about, right? We think that we have these fat cells and that we're just growing or depleting our fat cells, right? They're just getting bigger or smaller depending on how much we eat. And if we restrict calories, they're going to shrink. And if we eat too many calories, they're going to grow. But hyperplasticity in fat cells means that we're actually duplicating fat cells. These drugs elicit hyperplasticity in your fat cells. Part of how it's getting the numbers down, it's just finding more ways for that insulin to get stored. So now when the nausea and stuff that's being caused by these drugs starts to go away, according to Dr. Bickman, in about 2 years, it starts to go away. Now your hunger's back. Now you haven't addressed what the first problem was in the first place, but now you have twice as many fat cells to fill up and store. So maybe your numbers stay down, but you're getting heavier than you were before you ever started the drug. And I've seen people have been reaching out to me and telling me that this actually happened to them. People have reached out to me and said, I tried those drugs, they didn't work, they made me sick. People reached out to me and said they've had thyroid issues after doing those drugs, that they've had gastroparesis after doing those drugs. So when I talk about these things, it's not just, oh, Misha hates these drugs. I actually have people in my DMs telling me the negative effects of it. And so for me, I'm here to help people's health, not to destroy it. So why would I ever be an advocate for those things if I know that something as simple as protocol based on real food products, that's gluten-free, halal, doesn't interact with any medications, that even an 18-month-old is utilizing? An 18-month-old can't be doing those things. Okay? Why would I not talk about it? Why would I not share it with people? So I am going to cut this one short today because honestly, that threw me for a little loop getting banned from TikTok. Yeah, I know I get excited, but somebody just got pissed off about my message, and so they decided to shut me down. But I've got to go deal with that and get some other questions answered. If you guys have questions, I would love to answer them for you. Otherwise, I will take off. I will try to come back, probably not till Monday now because I've got a load of things to deal with. But understand, if you want a better solution, by the way, I'll get the link for you all in this. That wasn't what I wanted. I'm laughing at myself for getting banned. Okay. There we have it. So I'll see what I can do to fix this and maybe come back later. But does anybody have questions? I can't even say your name. I wish I could hear it and say your name from Kenya. I would love to. But guys, I would love to help out. Just let me know. There's ways to get a hold of me there. We are not available in Kenya, unfortunately. But I do have an ebook that you can download that talks about the 6 simple steps. So those steps again were to prioritize or to get protein in, to get fiber in first, to prioritize protein, to fill up with healthy fats, and I give you a list of what those healthy fats are, to limit your carbs, do some time-based eating, and move your body. Now, when I talk about prioritize protein, I'm not telling you, I just did a video on that, what happens with your body with protein. Does anybody want to hear that? Before I go, what happens when you get in excessive amounts of protein, more than your body can utilize? Because I don't think a lot of people understand that. I'm just talking about the amount of protein that we actually need in a day. For most of us, if we're getting in 30 to 40 grams of protein, that's about optimal for us. So my daughter's doing a nutrition. She's getting licensed as a nutritionist. So we have a lot of conversations, and she was talking about, there were some studies that said, like, if it's just 10 grams of protein, your body's probably not going to utilize that. It really needs to be right around that 30 mark for your body to actually start utilizing the protein in the way we want it to. But when we get too much over 40 grams of protein, what's happening is we're either forcing our body to turn it into a product called urea so that it can be excreted through the kidneys, but now it's putting extra load on the kidneys, or it converts it into a glucose substance and gets stored as fat. So just taking in way too much protein is not good, but we've got to get in enough protein. So my rule of thumb is if you can get in 30 to 40 grams, at least 30, but maybe not too much more than 40 unless you're some big person, bodybuilding, super active. 30 to 40 grams is probably good and about the right amount for you to get in. So consider that. You guys download that ebook. I'm going to go fix this problem. I will see you back Monday. If I can get back on earlier, I will. And I appreciate your time this morning. Sorry for the randomness, but that's how things go sometimes. We'll talk to y'all later.